I would like to welcome our speaker for today's webinar, Stephen Major. Stephen is the Business Development Manager for Battery and Motor Markets with our Power Solutions business unit. He holds over 25 years of experience in the electrical interconnect industry, with special focuses in the alternative energy, EV, and power electronics markets. Thank you for joining us, Stephen.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to talking with everyone. So, just to begin, a little bit of background. I've been with Amphenol now for approximately 2 years, and I've been brought in from a power solutions company and background. I spent 14 years with Anderson Power Products and 10 years with Tyco, both in power utility and power connector applications. Just setting a little bit of background for the reason I'm here and the product that we're going to learn about today. So the Power Solutions, Amphenol Communications Systems, is a division, large division of Amphenol, as you all know, leader in interconnect solutions, and now moving on and really focusing on batteries and battery interconnect as we move more and more towards electrification with batteries and away from fossil fuel. We have a heavy emphasis on R&D for both new products and technology development. That's one of the reasons that I'm with Amphenol and the reason that we're moving into the product that you're going to see today. Amphenol Power Solutions is a large, very competent division of Amphenol with power technology, testing capabilities, global manufacturing, and configurable solutions that really target the power industry. So for years and years, Amphenol's had large availability of different types of products for different applications, but never really had stretched into the pure large battery applications like used in forklift trucks, people movers, and other types of related products. This is the reason why I joined Amphenol, and the reason I was brought in was to help to develop and launch a product that took us truly into an industry that we had not really touched deeply and that we felt we could be a very successful player. But the overall division, as noted, is a global division of manufacturing, configurable solutions, which you'll see a couple of them, testing capabilities, and power technology, high power contact technology. So this is just a quick overview of our manufacturing divisions. The reason I bring this up and the pictures is that these divisions play heavily in manufacturing the products that go through the Power BU. The one that's really of interest today is the Cochin, India facility. This is a fully integrated manufacturing facility with stamping, molding, and plating capability, cable assembly and assembly capability, all the ISO certifications that are required. So this facility totally produces the IPC connector and contacts that we're going to talk about today, but a brief overview of the other two facilities, Dongguan and Nantong, China, which are both active for this business unit. But Cochin is the main focus where our products come from for the IPC introduction. Just a quick couple of pictures of Cochin focusing on where the IPC product is made. It's about an 8-day ship time from Cochin to Valley Green to get our inventory in place, or to a direct customer ordering directly from Cochin, India, the IPC product. Once again, they're fully professional and integrated with stamping, plating, and molding, the three key applications that we need to have in order to produce the connector that we're going to dive into just a little later. As most of you know, as experienced salespeople and being with Amphenol, our two-piece blade solution has been around for a long time. So most of you have probably sold the Power Blade and all the different series within the Power Blade. These products also are manufactured in the Cochin facility. From the Ultra to the Power Blade Ultra HD to the wide variety of other products coming out of Cochin. So when we start to funnel down, after coming out kind of a broad overview of what Cochin does, Energy and industrial power, our e-power trademark, energy clip, energy storage systems. This is where we started to touch into higher amperages and battery applications, truly into robust systems, heavy contacts with heavy contact technology for carrying higher amperages, up to 350 amp IO rated connectors. This is a picture of the Energy Clip 350, which most of you have probably sold or have shown to customers. It's been around for quite a while, and you can see in the bottom right-hand corner an application of how it's really used. Back in the day, this battery cabinet was all interconnected with bars, with bus bars, from one positive to one negative in this battery case. This led to time-consuming, costly interconnect to build these types of battery racks, which are very prominent today in many, many different applications. So now, with the integration of the EK350 IO connector, this is a plug-and-play, snap-in connector, battery to battery. So if a battery did fail in this large rack, it could easily be replaced within minutes instead of disconnecting all the different bus bars that would tie together this system. So just a brief overview of where the industry is going is to be faster and be more efficient with high power and with batteries. So really focusing on energy and industrial power, and that's where we lead into the IPC connector, standing for Industrial Power Connector Series. Many of you have probably recognized this connector. If you've ever been in the back room of one of your large manufacturers, looking at their racking systems and their forklift trucks, if they're using electric forklift trucks, there's an 85% chance they're using this type of connector to plug the battery to the charger and then the battery to the electric motor within the truck. This connector and this series has been in the market for a long time, primarily manufactured by Anderson Power Products, based out of Sterling, Massachusetts, but truly an international company. This is the company where I spent 14 years selling and being a regional sales manager for all the Anderson products. This product is referred to as their SB line, and you're going to see it in the field as you start to call on customers with our IPC. So the Industrial Power Connector Series is a series of 4 different connector sizes, from 50 amp to 350 amp, as rated from left to right at the top of the page. All of these connectors are rated to 10,000 mating cycles and 600 volts. That's very important in this industrial application where you're plugging and unplugging this connector on a regular basis, and the amount of plug and play capability can easily reach 10,000 actions within a year's period, if not more. All of the connectors are modular and they're 94V0 plastic. They are color keyed housings and they are molded into the face and the connector in the bottom left on the blue connector. You can see the face of the connector has a little bit of a groove in it. That's how the keying is accomplished, through the plastic face of the connector, so that a blue connector will not mate to a red and a gray connector will not mate to a blue. This is very important when they're stacking these connectors in a charging situation or in any type of situation where they need to identify the different circuitry. Below the connectors, you can see the contacts, which are rated and inserted into the 50 amp M50 all the way up to the M350, and we'll spend a second on that later about the technology of the contact. The basic exploded assembly view of this connector is very simple. You have a connector housing, which is hermaphroditic. Obviously, this connector housing is just flipped 180 degrees. So it's the same housing, flipped 180 degrees, ready to mate with the other side. The contact is built the same way. This is a flat wiping contact. So in the picture on the bottom with the red arrows, it shows how the contacts, when this connector is mated, overlap each other. And that's your contact surface area. Every time this connector is plugged and unplugged, that surface area gets scrubbed off by the plugging action. So it has a built-in kind of cleaning action to this contact, which helps it to get to 10,000 mating cycles. The back end barrel is obviously utilized for either crimping the contact, which is done mainly, or you could solder these contacts onto the cable for test purposes and low volume. The mating sequence pretty similar to the last slide, but the real point of interest is the bottom slide, the wiping contacts. You can see on the left bottom slide that the contact, when inserted into the housing, has a radius on the one side of the contact. That radius is captured by the spring, which is preloaded and staked into the housing. When you crimp the contact onto the wire and snap that contact into the back of the housing, you'll hear a click, a tactile contact click that tells you that contact is seated properly in the housing. If you would turn the contact upside down, there is no radius on the other side of the contact. So it would not seat itself, you would not hear that click, and you'd know that contact was inserted upside down. So like I said, the contacts are hermaphroditic, flat wiping, just like the housings. It's the same contact, you're just turning it over 180 degrees. Very simple way to apply the product, very cost effective. We have completely launched this product family from the IPC 350 with all the data sheets, all the test requirements, the technical information, and the UL approval stamped on these housings. It's very important, obviously, that we meet the same form, fit, and function as we're up against with Anderson Power as the key supplier for 40 years. Just to show you the basic size of this connector, we have all the drawings, dimensional drawings for your customers' use when designing in this product to see how big it is, see the mated pair overall, and see the individual connectors. Our primary drive here is that we are form, fit, and function equivalent to Anderson Power, or Tyco was also in this market for a while, but has seemed to really back off their thrust to get into this type of product. We have totally tooled the entire range of product from the M50 to the 350, and we're ready to support you in the field on new orders, both in bulk packaging and in kits. And we'll talk about that in a second. But just showing you that all the backup documentation that you need to show the customer we're for real in this business, you'll have at your fingertips and on the website. So the product specifications, each product, obviously the M350 has its own specs. The wire range is the key difference. You can see the 350 has a wire range from 1 aught to 350 MCM. It is wire to wire and wire to board applicable, meaning you could take this connector and put it in a panel mount type of situation and it's ready to snap in and play. Materials I went over earlier, these are purely plated, silver plated contacts with a stainless steel retention spring that I mentioned earlier. The spring and the retention spring is key to delivering the normal forces on the contact. So there is no skimping. You cannot skimp in any of the processes or any of the materials that we use to make this product. Everything has a key value so it goes together properly. Operating temperature is industry standard of -40 degrees C to 105 C. But if a customer was in a special situation where he needed a higher temperature type of connector, maybe it's sitting in a motor type of application, something that generates heat, we can use different resins in the molding of the housing that will give us higher temperature ratings. So it's very important that it is customizable, but we do have a standard offering to begin with. But if a customer throws at you something that's outside of the spec you're seeing, please contact me. We can do a lot of things to customize a product as long as they have at least 10,000 pieces of EAU volume. Once again, the dimensional of the M175s, just showing you that we do have all the backup, all of the information is loaded on the website under IPC Industrial Power Connector. This is the IPC specification sheet. Once again, as I said, the only thing that really changes here is the wire range, very top left, that this product accommodates. Obviously, a smaller connector, the M175, will accommodate 4 to 1/0 cable. The 350 goes up a notch in cable size. So depending on the amount of current the customer is needing to operate, this is your driver as to which connector you would select. Remember, we go all the way to an M50 connector for smaller applications. The standard features and benefits that we've all been taught, and they're still important and very much play when producing and when manufacturing and when targeting our customer base. As I said, our goal is to be form, fit, and function equivalent to Anderson Power, mainly as the dominant industry leader, and also to Tyco, who is now a secondary manufacturer. But the features here on the 175 connector and 350 connector are basically the same. The only thing that changes is really the wire size of the contact that this connector will accommodate. You can see everything is rated to 10,000 mating cycles. The color coding remains the same, meaning that a black connector or a gray connector will not mate to a red because of the mechanical interface design in the face of the connector. UL testing and approved when cross-mated with competitive connectors. This is a very important part. We, as one of the leading manufacturers of connectors in the world today, have actually taken the Anderson Power product connector because of its dominance in the industry, and we took it to UL and mated it to the new IPC connector of similar design. So let's just say we took two IPC M350 connectors and we mated those connectors to two Anderson Power 350 SB connectors. These were tested extensively by UL, and we received UL rating for the cross intermatability of these two connectors. The reason this is so important is because of Anderson's dominance in the field for so many years. There are millions of Anderson Power connectors out in the market today. And when we go into this market and claim we're form, fit, and function equivalent, and we want to be a great second source and become the primary source, we have to be able to intermate with the product that's in the field today. That's why we took on doing this cross-testing, this cross-mating, this intermatability of these two connectors. One thing that should be noted, these connectors are not interchangeable. Big difference in the two words. Interchangeable meaning you cannot take a contact from Anderson Power and put it into our IPC housing. You first of all would lose the UL, and secondly, neither one of us has tested this cross type of interchangeability. So intermatable, yes. Interchangeable, no. This is just a close-up look at the contacts. When we get our contacts in from our third-party vendor, they come in bare copper, as you see on the left. On one side of the contact is our IPC logo embedded. On the other side of the contact, you roll it over, is the size of the wire range that it's willing to accept. So it's very easy to tell what wire you need to use in which contact. After we get the contacts in, we plate them, the silver plating, a pure silver plate, and then we lubricate the contacts to make reduce the mating force levels with the lubrication. So this is kind of just a streamlined look at what do the contacts look like when we get them in, after we plate them, and then obviously inserted into the red housing. Important part to know is logo on one side, wire range on the other side on every contact. One of the main questions that comes out whenever you're trying to displace or become a second source is, what about all of my Anderson tooling I have in place? I'm a contract manufacturer. I do thousands of cables a week, and I have a lot of dollars invested in tooling. Good news is our contact has the same specifications, the same barrel sizes as the Anderson or the Tyco contact. So the customer does not have to retool his termination area. This bench-mounted tool that you see on the right-hand side is very popular. For many years, it was known as the Pico tool. It was manufactured by a company named Pico, which has recently been acquired by Renstedt Tools. So the tools are still available, but the note here is the tooling is exactly the same as what Anderson, the industry leader, uses, and we can crimp our contacts in this tooling with certification all day. No change in tooling required. Very important for a contract manufacturer. We have moved into a secondary packaging stage for the product, and we are now producing the product in bulk packaging, where you'd get 1,000 contacts in a box and 500 connectors in a box. That would be our bulk packaging. It would be priced that way. There are MOQs established. All of the pricing is released. We also now have kit pricing. So if you look on the far left, you'll see part numbers for bubble bag kits. These kits include one housing, like this first one, the M175 gray, and two contacts wrapped in a bubble-type pack. This accomplishes a couple different things. It keeps the inventory straight, knowing that you have one connector of the correct size, 175, and two 1-aught contacts in the bubble pack. There's no operator error potential for grabbing the wrong contact and trying to put it into the wrong housing. Everything is pre-packed, pre-labeled, and pre-marked. Also, the bubble pack, we found, has helped to reduce any type of tarnishing that might occur on the silver plating if product was stored on a distributor's shelf for over a year or in inventory. Silver can tarnish. Anderson made a decision years back to put boxes. They made boxes and put their contacts and housings into cardboard boxes, small boxes. We went away from that technology, believe we've improved the packaging to help reduce the tarnishing effect. But kits are much more cost effective for us to manufacture and to produce. So we are really pointing all the sales teams to try to sell the kits versus the bulk packaging parts, and we can talk about that in more detail. But the price advantage is to sell the kits and focus on the bubble back kit part numbers when you're picking out the connector you want to show to the customer. This is just a picture of some of the accessories. Not a great picture, but it shows this clamp, the cable clamp in the bottom left-hand corner. Many customers, many OEMs, many contract manufacturers put this cable clamp on as a secondary measure after the connection has been completed to reduce the amount of pull and tear on the connection area itself. People always want to yank on the cables when they disconnect the connector instead of pulling on the connector housing. This cable clamp, although inexpensive, is a nice add-on to the sale because thousands and thousands of connector and cable contacts like this, cable assemblies, are always used with cable clamps. So this is something we want to focus on adding on to the sale of a customer signing on for IPC. This is just a bad picture of the bubble packs. Basically, you can see the M350 housing, M175, 120, and the 50. You can see the contacts are already partially slid into the housing to protect them, and then they are bubble wrapped for added protection. We properly label these every bag with the IPC logo, the M120 connector, and a gray number 6 gauge wire. So you'll know exactly what's in this kit before you open it. All of this material, as I said earlier, the plastic is 94V0, and we're totally RoHS compliant. Then the bar coating would be added to this lot of kits after the total assembly is completed. So bottom line is it's a well-packaged kit. It's got all the information on the outside, and it's very easy to sell and select the right product. There's a lot of different applications for what we've talked about here today. We're focusing on large batteries. In this industry, for any of you that know about lift trucks or people movers or things like that, The new phase in batteries is lithium ion. So lithium is gradually replacing lead acid. Lithium has some advantages and some disadvantages, but the main advantage is lithium can take rapid charging of amperages up to 700 amps. Back in the old days of pure lead acid batteries, 350 amps was about the limit of the charge that connector could take. But with lithium now, it's changed the profile of the need for a new connector. And what we're seeing is customers are now stacking 2 of the 350 connectors on top of each other or shoulder to shoulder, trying to get that higher amperage, that 700 amps of capability. They're also integrating something called rapid charging. Lead acid batteries used to be charged overnight, 8 hours, for the truck to be recharged fully and the battery to be recharged and ready to run another day. Lithium-ion batteries have the capability of receiving 700 amps of charge in 15 minutes. So the advantage now is the customer can run his fleet of trucks around the clock and come in to top off charge on a coffee break or whenever the operator might be on any type of break. Just topping off that battery with an extreme charge of 700 amps by lithium that was not permittable or wasn't even a thought years back. So we're seeing this change, and we're positioning Amphenol to be ready with a new connector that could accommodate up to 700 amps of power in that 15-minute range that the batteries can now put out. But just back to applications, there are so many applications, from the 350 for large batteries to the little 50 amp connectors that might go into an electric lawnmower or electric chainsaw, or some of your customers who are converting over to electric power from fossil fuel or gasoline. So keep your eyes open because there are many, many applications for this IPC connector. Just showing a little bit of where you'll see these charger applications. The bottom left is a charger bank, a battery bank that would load into a forklift truck. The bottom right is a charging cell, which individual chargers lined up in a row for charging batteries. And obviously, there's a lot of big users today. Toyota, Crown Battery, we're calling on all of them. And we're talking to all of them about their conversion to lithium. But in the meantime, we want to sell them our IPC offering because it is truly form, fit, and function equivalent to Anderson and to Tyco, and we can come in at a better price point. Just a couple pictures of the large batteries. If you've not seen one before, these things are monstrous. They weigh about 600 pounds. You can see the red connector, the one connector coming off all those batteries that are inserted in series, and that red connector would plug into the charger and then turn around and plug into the motor on the truck. So the one connector ends up on 3 different applications: the electric motor, the charger, and the truck itself, all 3 mating to each other. A la color coordination is very important also, as we talked about earlier, the keying of these connectors. Just in conclusion, a couple bullets. I've said this numerous times in this presentation. Form, fit, and function. I've used it for years. To Anderson Power. There's nothing that we can't do that they haven't done with their SB line. We're definitely even player on the field. We're UL recognized to be equivalent with industry connectors, and we've tested per UL, as I mentioned earlier. Right now, we inventory our product at Amphenol in Valley Green, Pennsylvania, and also through assigned distributors who are signing on through our IPC, our initial product offering, and is going very well. So we have inventory in place. We're ready to ship. We're ready to support your customers' orders within 4 to 6 weeks, and can do better with that with inventory coming out of Valley Green. Cable assemblies are available upon request. Our pricing is set a bit below the industry standard to get attention. We have been approved as an equivalent by many OEMs and by UL. Very important statement. The leaders recognize UL and IPC and other contact housings manufacturers are not interchangeable, but intermatable. Very important point. And our primary sales for packaging of our connectors today is direct sales from Valley Green, or we all are setting up accounts direct to Cochin to lower cost and ship direct from India to the US. So these are kind of the key highlights of the overall presentation and our target strategy for IPC. We're well positioned right now today. We're ready to go out and show product. I'm ready to get you all samples. I'm building sample kits. Any questions you might have, I'd really appreciate the phone call as the product manager. And I thank you for your time.
Amazing. Thank you, Stephen. And we don't have much time left for Q&A, but I do just want to get this one question in. Are there more current ranges in this product line on the NPI roadmap?
More current ranges. So there could be, right now, we're going up to 350 amps, and our smallest connector is 50 amps. But we probably will not go any higher until we have gotten our new possible 700 amp connector out of development. So I would answer yes, but I'd answer also we're probably 6 months away.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. And thank you for joining us today and discussing Power's IPC series. And thank you to everyone for being here and learning more about Rugged IPC with Stephen Major. I hope you have a good rest of your day.